What is happening, YouTube? Um, this trade rumor, this James Harden rumors, is been getting stronger day by day by day, and I feel like it's a perfect time for me to just share my personal opinions about getting James Harden. Um, I've mentioned my personal opinions in my past videos, like as a side note about it, but it wasn't really like that not like that strong of an opinion. I was like, and I'm sure you definitely have an idea what's my opinion about it, but I just want to make a more of a extensive video about it, and also, just an extra way of making some YouTube content, because why not? And what's a better time than to post it when the algorithm is getting hot? But anyways, James Harden to the Los Angeles Clippers. Personally, I'm very neutral about it. I like Harden as a player. His game is at times is pretty cool to watch. He's a bucket, very good one-on-one player, very good with his ball handling skills, obviously. Um, but at times when Harden is on his lows, it's definitely not good to see whatsoever. So there's always some pros and cons and all that. And my personal opinion is I think it's a huge possibility that we could get Harden for like a team friendly price. Um, because the Sixers don't have any choice. There's no other teams that are gonna go for James Harden because James Harden, he only wants to play for the Los Angeles Clippers and no other teams. And the biggest part is James Harden contract is expiring. And man, and when you're on an expiring contract, your trade value is going to be a lot lower because they could just risk losing him for nothing. So not many teams are going to really actually take a risk and trade for James Harden other than the Los Angeles Clippers because that's where James Harden wants to go. So who would I give up for James Harden if you know if like if he's available? I'll say the max. The most I would give up would be um, Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum, and Norman Powell, and then probably Amir Coffey and Jason Preston, I guess. I mean Jason Preston, yeah. So those are like that's like the maximum line. As soon as when you hear guys like Terrence Mann, that's a no go. Robert Covington, that's also a no go. Um, Brandon Boston Jr., that's a absolutely slam the phone. A first round pick, you better slam that phone, man. You better slam that phone as soon as you hear a Terrence Mann, Brandon Boston, Bones Highland, um, even Robert Covington and a first round pick. You got to hang that phone up, man, because the Sixers, they ain't got a choice. They ain't got a choice. And for a guy like James Harden, or anybody in general, like even if a player is good, even like a Pascal Siakam, Clippers should not give up any long-term assets because we don't have any draft picks left, and our future is looking, I don't know, pretty shaky because we're not that young. So Clippers got to be careful how they handle their offseason, and I hate to say it, but the Clippers have been really reckless lately. They redeemed themselves with the KJ Martin trade, but as soon as that Eric Gordon trade, I just lost all my faith with with our front office, man, because you just did that for Eric Gordon. Who knows what Lawrence Frank would do for James Harden, but hopefully he doesn't do it again. But again, those are the guys I would give up for James Harden. That's the limit line because Marcus Morris, let's be real, get him off the team for sure. Nico Batum, he's up in age. Father's time is getting to him. Norman Powell, I feel like we got the best of him, and even Harden or not, I would still try to move him for something else. Um, and then Amir Coffee, he could be a decent player somewhere else, but I just want to find extra opportunities to clear up guys for Brandon Boston, and then Jason Preston. Jason Preston, he's okay, but yeah, he's an okay point guard. And then we would get Harden, who I guess would be another star power option. But anyways, let me lay my pros and cons about getting James Harden. So let's start with the pros. Um, the pros is, I guess you get another firepower option. Harden, he's incredibly inconsistent. So, um, but when he's on, he's on. He could give you 20 points on a good amount of nights and 30 points at times, and he's also really good with assists. So he definitely could give our players better looks, like how Russell Westbrook did. So we get two really good playmakers. So our offense could definitely has the potential to get better. And James Harden, he still would get his triple doubles at times. He would get rebounds, so we would get some extra rebounds. So that's another pro. Um, Another pro is Russell Westbrook and James Harden. They have the chemistry. And also, Harden wanted to be a Clipper. So again, that's immediate chemistry because, Harden is at a team where he really wants to be at. Um, Now, the cons is Harden would get inconsistent in the playoffs. There's a lot of times, man, when Harden is in the playoffs, that man tends to choke a good amount of times. There'll be times when he would go 3 for 11, 4 for 16, and all that. But at the same time, though, people say that about Paul George, but we all know what happened with Paul George. He pretty much redeemed himself, and we all love Paul George. So that could there's some hope, I guess, if we do get Harden on a team friendly price. Um, Another con is his defense could be suspect at times. Um, Sometimes Harden it's not like Harden's defense being bad at defense. It could be at times a little bit over exaggerated, but a lot of times Harden's known to fall asleep at times on defense. So that is another weakness. And then I guess another potential weakness is, if things goes wrong, Harden, I guess he might want to just, he would probably pout his way out. But again, Harden wants to be a Clipper, so less likely it happens, and then he gets to play with Russell Westbrook. So that's a less likely chance that happens. And then another, another that is leading towards the pro, aka like the benefit of the doubt. So even if Harden, he would choke in the playoffs at times, you still got Kawhi and Paul George to definitely um, off balance it because Kawhi, he's far from a playoff choker. Paul George, he pretty much debunked the narrative that he's a playoff choker. So if Harden's shots not falling, he could definitely give Paul George and Kawhi some solid looks because he's known for getting a good amount of assists. But again, you also have Russell Westbrook who could do that. So I guess that could be a pro because so a lot of players they could take turns of having good games and bad games. So let's just say Kawhi have a bad game, Paul George could have a good game, and James Harden could have a good game, and Russ could have a good game. Let's say Harden and Russ have a bad game, Paul George and Russ and Kawhi could have a good game. So I guess that could be that's another pro. And when Russell Westbrook was a Clipper, a lot of people they were really scared about it, including me, because I was not a Westbrook guy before he was a Clipper. A pretty, really good piece for us, man. Pretty good player. Um, but at the same time, though, there is a huge limit on who should we trade. Obviously, if it's just Morris, Batum, Norman Powell, that's fine with me. And then obviously Preston and Amir Coffee, I'm fine with that. But Soon as you hear actual assets that is like a glue guy or any of our future, like a first round pick, um, Brandon Boston, Musa, Bones, Terrence Mann, you gotta say no, no, no. You gotta slam that phone because just remember the Clippers have leverage over the Philadelphia 76ers. Because again, he's expiring, and just look at the Bradley Beal trade if you think I'm being too unrealistic. Because Bradley Beal's even like the Wizards, they were in lesser need of trading Bradley Beal because Bradley Beal he's under contract for I believe 3 or 4 more years. And, Bradley Beal and James Harden, their talent level is not insanely far off if you compare the players within the past 2 years because there was a certain time when Bradley Beal was averaging the highest points in the league. And there are some Clippers fans who thought about trading Paul George for Bradley Beal. So that shows that how good Bradley Beal is, but look what um look what the Phoenix Suns just got for Bradley Beal. Just Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, and some second round picks, which was basically nothing. So it's definitely possible that we could just get Harden for just Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum, and it's hard to say that's a generous trade for the 76ers because, Morris, he's a dud. Batum, he would kind of be a dud in a way, but at the same time, he has some solid IQ plays. Um, but Norman Powell though, he has some trade value, so you could trade him for something. So um, for an expiring contract and for a past his prime Harden, that's not a bad return. That's a solid return. Russ, uh, Harden, Kawhi, Paul George, and Zubac, that could be a pretty solid lineup. Um, and then you potentially could clear up minutes for Brandon Boston because you trade Norman Powell, and then Amir Coffey, and then the bench could be Bones Highland, Terrence Mann, Brandon Boston, Robert Covington, and Mason Plumlee or Musa Diabate. Hey, that's not a bad lineup, man. That's a solid team. But I wouldn't even really try to exactly really go for Harden because um, on it, it's not really the Clippers don't have any hit enough stars to win the championship. It's always those little things, man, and a lot of it falls on Ty Lue, bruh. Ty Lue just don't know how to. He just don't play the young guys. He keeps playing these old veterans, man, and then he plays the ridiculous little 5 guard lineups, bruh. Like, come on now. Like, dude be playing starting Marcus Morris, or dude would be running 5 guard lineups before giving guys like Brandon Boston and Musa Diabate real minutes. Like, in my opinion, all we need to do just get Morris on the bench, start Robert Covington as our power forward. You know, get Brandon Boston some minutes, and then get Diabate some minutes, and then we'd cruise our way to win the championship when healthy, obviously. And then the only trade I would actually do though, like personally, is I'll just find a team that will give me a first round pick for Norman Powell, man, because Norman Powell, he's a great player, but it's time for him to it's time for Brandon Boston to get to 6 man minutes, and then obviously find a way to get Morris off the team. Or honestly, just or if we don't get Morris off the team, just straight up don't play him many minutes, man, or play him really limited minutes because Marcus Morris and Nicholas Batum, both of their contracts are expiring. So um, if the Clippers want to pursue another star, I think the Clippers should just simply run it back with this roster and then just play our cards right, play the young guys more, and then um, once the 2024 free agency starts, Clippers clear a lot of cap space because you got guys like um, Nicholas Batum, Marcus Morris. Both of their contracts alone, that's an automatically alone $28 million off your cap space. And then not to mention that Covington and Mason Plumlee is also, um, you know, both free agents. So, we could bring Robert Covington back at a more team friendly price. And then Plumlee, I guess, I don't know what you want to do with him. We could do whatever. Another team friendly contract, or just give Diabate the complete backup spot. And then that would clear up a good amount of cap space. And then not to mention, me personally, just finding a team that find a team that would like to have Norman Powell, and then we get a first round pick, and then that could potentially clear some other cap space. Honestly, if the Clippers are smart about it, they could just get Harden in a free agency for 2024, or even better, Pascal Siakam, because Pascal Siakam is also another free agent in 2024, and the Clippers, they're in LA, a pretty marketable team with Kawhi and Paul George. And if the Clippers manage to do pretty well this season with just our roster, we could just sign players off of free agency. So that's what I would do if I'm being honest, because that would be like a good way to play our cards right. Because man, we could sign. We might have a solid amount of cap room next year. Like that could be. That's actually a pretty solid idea. But if the Clippers do want to go for Harden, I'm okay with it. But again, don't trade any of your long-term assets, man, because Clippers cannot afford it, man. They cannot afford to go complete bankrupt like how the Brooklyn Nets bankrupt themselves when they did the Kevin Garnett trade. So that's just my personal opinion. Um, like I said, if you do want to go for Harden, the max is Marcus Morris, Batum, Norman Powell, and then I guess Amir Coffey or Jason Preston. Um, that's my maximum. That's my maximum. But let me know what you guys think about going for James Harden. Pretty mixed comments. Um, I predict there will be a one side who likes going for James Harden, and then my regular viewers, because me and my viewers, we kind of share the similar thought process. We're not the type who want to immediately start a hunt, and we both like developing and playing young players. So there will be another faction who will be like, nah, I'm not too moved about going for Harden. So it'll be very interesting. But I'm not gonna lie. Some Clippers fans, they're a little bit too overzealous about going for James Harden. I saw this one dude from Instagram. He said, I was just browsing on Instagram. One dude said he would trade Terrence Mann and a first round pick for James Harden. Like, bro, you straight up tripping, man. You straight up tripping. A first round pick and Terrence Mann for James Harden, and not to forget his contract is expiring. Like, that's mad tripping. But anyways, off and let me know what you think about the idea of getting James Harden. Peace.